friends today. No, it's Movie the Podcast. It's still 4th of Clone Guy.
Gonna edit that out.
Yeah, we can edit it in. No one knows which rich friend we're talking about.
Well, we just say his name like 7 times.
Well, just edit the front part of it out, not the part where we name him by name.
Oh, okay.
And let the listener decide. So we watched
that clip from fucking Family Guy where it talks about the WNBA and they're like, that's for the fan to decide. That's one of the best fucking Family Guy bits ever.
That and the Dick Van Dyke Show.
I saw one today that actually got me pretty bad. It was like post World War II Germany, the post World War II German film industry. Like, well, now that World War II's over, we can get back to making comedies. Here, get me all these comedic writers. He's like, yeah, I can't get you any of those guys. Like, oh, that's awful. Well, someone get me my agent. It's like, well, we won't be able to get a hold of me either. It's like, why not? Oh, that's why.
I shared a meme today that I thought was pretty hilarious where it was girls with a time machine. Oh my God, I'm your granddaughter. Oh my God, boys with a time machine. Hey Seth, make sure to get up early so you catch that flight. Oh God, I hate Seth MacFarlane. All right, what did we watch tonight, guys?
We watched Attack of the Clones, which we are
episode 2 Attack of the Clones.
We're going through episodes 2 like Attack of the Clones. I don't know how much work. Thank you. I don't know whose line is that.
I don't know.
I thought it was yours.
I thought you just coined it.
No. That's a verse from somebody. I don't know whose verse I just stole, but it's somebody.
Let's just say Inspector Duck.
Let's for the sake of
also Alec may drop by, probably not, but
how much more blood can we get from this rock? I mean, everyone is dragged.
You know what, though?
2.
I don't think anybody's talked about this in years. I think since we didn't do it right away, like it's everything that's old is new.
Now it's new again.
Well, Sean has brought this up several times, but this is one of those movies where fucking millennials, or excuse me, not millennials, Zoomers have come, and I guess younger millennials, have come around and said that this movie and the trilogy, the prequel trilogy as a whole, are actually like secret masterpieces. And I'm here to say that
secret to everyone. Then
this movie is absolutely terrible. And I'm happy to say that I hated this movie, but I hated this movie for even new reasons this time.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've seen this movie probably a dozen times. Like, I've seen it a lot, and
I saw this movie at least twice in the theater. Like, what the fuck's the matter with
I didn't see this in the theater, believe it or not. I actually bought it. So this is how old we are, right? I got this on DVD when it came out, and I got the fucking the 16:9, the fucking that version, the regular. And not the widescreen, it made it even worse.
Oh Lord!
But no, there's a plot point in this Gogs that I discovered kinda that I always had wrong, and now as little sense as the movie made, it makes way less sense now that I've found this out. So
yeah,
that'll
Sean
be
and I were.
Is that a teaser? Is that a teaser?
Yeah, well, I'll let TJ get through Oppenheimer because I kind of want to hear about it real quick, and I don't know what you watched, but I figured we could get. I didn't watch shit, so I figured we could get right into this because this is going to go long.
I'm gonna get through mine really quick. So, Gogs, prompt me.
TJ, what did you watch?
Thank you, God. I watched two things.
Tell me it was Barbie and Oppenheimer. Tell me you did the Wombo combo.
No, I kind of had a rough weekend. I didn't have time to see both, but I did go see Oppenheimer. I will see Barbie though, probably this weekend. Maybe. But no, I watched a movie called The Horseman. Have you guys ever seen this? It's an Australian movie.
Is it about Arn Anderson?
No, it is about a guy who it's kind of like that movie Hardcore with what's his name?
George C. Scott.
Yeah. It's kind of like that movie. So like basically this guy's daughter she was a heroin addict and she ends up in some kind of skeezy porno and then is murdered. And then this guy just goes on a fucking kill rampage to kill these pornographers. It's really good. It's fucking violent and disturbing. But my only gripe, and again, I'm making this like very fast. My only gripe is that there's moments in the movie where you think he has gone too far and that these guys, while scumbags, don't deserve death. And that to me is like really interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're scumbag pornographers, but they didn't actively murder this girl. This girl was a junkie who OD'd. And the movie kind of sucks a little bit at the end because the guy that's kind of like the final boss of the perverts is like explicitly like horrible and is like, yeah, I killed the bitch. And it's like I kind of like the ambiguity of this guy just being a total effing psycho.
Yeah, like he just loses the plot, like you're with him and then you have to reevaluate because he just goes way too far, yeah.
And again, it's still a good movie, but like they throw a kernel of that out a little bit, and I'm like, ooh, you gave TJ something he likes because it's like, you're totally with him, like, yeah, it's a revenge story, but then it's like, well, is it a revenge story or is he kind of a shitty dad too because like they lost connection and she became a like, I don't know. There's like a more interesting cut of this movie, I think. I don't know. I still really liked it. It's definitely worth checking out.
They took the easy way out and they just made the bad guys in the end.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And also, I feel like we've talked about this. Like the opening of the movie has some like really shitty, like choppy editing. And I think we talked about this a million years ago about Fury Road, where Fury Road in the very beginning has some like very like choppy editing, and I think we were like, like it's gonna be like that, and it course corrects.
There's some janky speed ramp like right in the beginning of Fury Road.
Yeah,
like when he's running through a Morton Joe's like fortress, you're like
getting through all the war boys. Yeah,
maybe it was like a Make-A-Wish for Zack Snyder. You know how like they'll let you call a play or something. You know what I mean? And they're like, well, let him get one edit right at the beginning, and then we'll make the rest of the movie.
Just gotta give him.
So the Horseman I would recommend. One of a good Aussie film. Very very violent.
What year?
Early 2000s. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, okay.
Definitely worth checking out.
Were they new metal cuts? Because that was the Attitude era of movies. Okay.
I think a little bit, but like new metal cuts without the like fucking like Disturbed in the background. But it's definitely that kind of thing. And it's like right off the bat, it's fucking brutal. Like he is literally just beating this dude with a tire iron. And then like he's got like the whole time, like when he goes out to murder people, like he's just like a regular guy, right? So he's got like literally this like toolbox with just like hammers and crowbars, and he's got this like, you know that I don't know what you call them, those like things that they put like bug spray in, those like pump
like little pressure sprayers.
So he's just like
the thing that Rick Martel put his perfume in.
No, that's like the fucking like Donkey Kong 3 like bug sprayer thing.
That's like what Vito Corleone was using in his tomato garden before he fucking ate it.
So anyway, he's beating this guy, literally just beating the fuck out of him with his tire iron. And then he just starts spraying him with this shit. And then he walks out and sets the house on fire. You're like, oh yeah.
That's
how it starts. That's how the movie fucking starts.
Like, revenge is one of my favorite emotions.
You'll love this movie. This is a Gogs movie. Because this movie is like all about brutal. Like, on the other show that I did with Chris, we reviewed Kill List a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And there's a great scene in Kill List where the dude, one of the hitmen, literally just starts bashing this dude with a fucking hammer, and it's like so violent and like disturbing. Well, imagine like an hour and a half of just that scene over and over again. That's The Horseman. Like it's just so fucking violent.
I love revenge. I love brutal revenge. I love brutal, disproportionate revenge.
Yes. It's very good. I like I said, it's not fair that I judge it on the thing that I kind of wish it did more, but it's still a good movie. Anyway, I also watched Christopher Nolan's newest film, Oppenheimer. Also, like, there's a Simpsons joke where they're like, I forget what character it was, but he's like, and I always think about that when I hear Oppenheimer. I don't know why.
Did he say it's Oppen time and then drop the bomb?
Yeah. So here's the fun thing about Oppenheimer. The bomb is kind of the side plot. It's kind of a B plot of the whole movie.
Wasn't for Japan.
First off, I really love the movie. I think it's great. But I'm going to give it with the warning that TJ famously loves kind of dry historical dramas. And that's kind of what this is. Like, this is a character study / like political procedural.
Oh, it's like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy without the exciting parts.
I think I told you, it's a more expensive version of Darkest Hour.
Yeah.
Another movie I really liked. But this movie is not going to be for everybody. Like, it's so weird to me after watching it that Nolan is Nolan. He always pushes like, oh, you got to see it in 70. He shot it in 70 IMAX or whatever. But like, I don't know why. Because
I'm thinking maybe he's just comfortable looking at it that way. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just like he's just stuck in that mode.
And I think it was the Red Letter Media review I heard this morning, and maybe this is the what he was doing. But like, the movie is a lot of people in small rooms, so maybe it's like a weird like juxtaposition that you have that, because the scope of the film, obviously in a historical context, is massive.
Yeah.
But the actual plot is very small. I don't know. I loved it. I thought every actor, like, the acting is fantastic in it. And while the movie is far from a visual spectacle movie, there are a lot of interesting little tricks that Nolan does to keep you engaged. Like, he constantly has these cuts to Oppenheimer's mind and how he visualizes things. I thought it was really, really good, to be honest. Like,
friend of the show, Macon Blair, has a pretty decent sized role in it.
Yeah, Macon Blair is in it for he plays Oppenheimer's lawyer, and when I saw him, I was like, oh my god, that's fucking Macon Blair.
That guy go get sued.
And I felt like, I don't know, I know this is silly to say, but like, Macon Blair is an actor that all of us really like a lot.
You and I have both interacted with him at various times too.
He was fucking nice enough to repost that Blue Ruin painting I did a million years ago. And like,
me and him went back and forth about Daryl Green for like a few minutes before,
And I mean, Macon Blair is literally a guy that, the only reason he even got into movies is because he was Jeremy Saulnier's buddy. Like, he's not an actor. And, like, the fact that he's gone from being in fucking Murder Party, again, great movie, but, like, he's in a fucking Christopher Nolan. I know it's kind of silly, but I'm, like, proud of him. Like, that's awesome that he's...
And also... Toxic Avenger is in post right now, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. And also, Benny Safdie has a pretty huge role in this movie, and he's great. Now, Benny Safdie showed up. He was in Licorice Pizza, too. He's really good in that.
Which brothers? Is he the deaf in Good Time Brothers or the other one?
Yeah.
I get them mixed up. Okay.
He's the slower one in Good Time. Yeah.
I got one question.
He's not Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Really stupid it was what I just said. But anyway, what's your question, guys? I really liked it. I think both of y'all really like it. It's just a little long is my only complaint.
Was one of the tricks to keep the audience engaged getting Florence Pugh's gear off? Because I've heard.
No, here's the thing, and you can call me weird and pretentious or whatever, but like, she is naked and it's pretty extensive, and trust me, there's harder things to look at than Florence Pugh naked.
But it's not like super sexual, right?
No, it's quite the opposite. Like, it's weird, and like, Oppenheimer is kind of like, I like this part about the movie a lot. Like, Oppenheimer is fucked up. Like, he's a very flawed character. And I think, like, I don't want to give the whole movie away. But
I know what happens at the end.
Well, his relationship with Florence Pugh is kind of a perfect analogy to what happens with the bomb. And it's kind of, his sort of what he has to deal with after the bomb hits. You know what I mean? Like, there's this point in the movie that's kind of fascinating where,
dude, how cool would it? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but how cool would it be if after the credits you see Robert Shaw, like a digitally recreated Robert Shaw, picking up the bomb?
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would have been amazing. But what I think is kind of cool is, like, so there's a good chunk of this movie is all the scientists trying to figure out how to solve this puzzle, how to make this bomb. And it's almost kind of like rah-rah. Like, they're so excited to get this project done because of the scientific pursuit. That
like they don't understand the human cost of it,
exactly.
or it doesn't occur to them.
It's the Ian Malcolm. We were so busy to figure out if we could, we didn't stop to think we should. Is it that move?
And well, I mean, it kind of is, but it's also like the fact that Oppenheimer himself,
that all scientists are autistic and they don't understand human shit.
But he does. Like, too late. And he also
didn't Oppenheimer really think it was going to bring peace, right? Like, he thought this was going to.
Oppenheimer thought that if he did, and they get into this in the movie too. He thought that if they created something, and again, this is a very utopian
that like just
kind
the
of view.
threat of it would
The
be
threat
good
of it
enough.
yeah, right, and it's not.
Yeah.
And Benny Safdie says the same thing. They'll build until they make a bigger bomb. Anyway, it's a really good
a bigger
movie.
board with a bigger nail.
It is a very dad movie. Again, it is. So I
want credit for that, by the way.
Oh yeah, well, it's a term that we've cultivated on this show quite a bit, I feel like. But I also want to say just real quick before I get off of it. So in this theater, one of the strangest crowds I've ever been in, and I went like at a 9:00 showing on Sunday night. So I actually went at like peak.
Do you think
hours.
Do you think normies go to Nolan movies thinking that they're all going to be like fucking Interstellar or The Dark Knight or something?
Yeah. Well, so there was a group of like literally like frat bros there, and I was like, what the fuck are they doing here? And then there was like this guy.
Maybe they're physics majors.
I assume it was a dad and his two kids that were like probably like, I don't know, preteens or like early teens. And the fucking kid would not get off his fucking phone, and he was like listening to like YouTube or something in the beginning of the movie. His dad smacked him and made it turn it off, which I thought was hilarious. But they left. They left like half an hour in. I was like, well, what movie did you expect? Even by the trailer, like what movie did you expect to see? Anyway, it's really good. I don't know.
One of the wildest takes I saw was like there aren't any Japanese people in it. I'm like, do you want there to be in this one?
Well, they don't show they don't show any war at all.
Yeah.
They show like no. It's kind of like what he did in a weird way. It's kind of like what he did in Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Like it's not. I know this sounds stupid to say and possibly reductive, but it's almost not even about the war. Like it's more about like I don't know.
Again, those guys are so far removed from it. You know what I mean? Like it's not they.
And my reading of it is because several times, because Oppenheimer was Jewish, and several times he uses that. He's like, well, I know what the German, I don't know if we can be trusted with a bomb, but I know that the Germans can't. And, historically, and I'm sure both of you know this, but Germany was done when we had the bomb. Yeah. Germany was already dead. It was done. They were
just looking for someone to nuke at that.
The only one left was Japan. And Sean, what's that YouTuber that we like? I think he's Jose. He's got like the skull.
Oh, that's Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
He made. I think it was him. He made a video about
3 Arrows. I can't remember, but it was one of those two guys.
One of them made a video about how the nuclear bomb was completely unnecessary and most ridiculous thing ever.
Well, they were gonna surrender anyway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
they should have dropped one on Berlin just for funzos, though. Honestly,
yeah. It's like teabagging. So it's like the ultimate teabag. Anyway,
you thought Dresden was bad.
I really like the movie. I highly recommend it. It's not going to be for everybody. Like I told Sean, I think before we started recording, I'm really interested to see what like the normie perspective is, because I have a lot of feeling that people are going to be like, this movie's really boring. I didn't get it, but I really liked it.
Favorite part of the movie, the science.
Actually, yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
I think you'll like it a lot.
Move over age of.
Well, all kidding aside, like there is something that's compelling about people that are really competent. Like I'm not the person.
Yeah, it's competence porn. It's like what's the Robert Redford movie that like I can't stand?
All is Lost. Yeah, I didn't care for that either. But I don't know. It's a cool movie. I liked Oppenheimer. I don't know. Honestly, it's probably on the lower tier of my Nolan movies right now, but I'll have to watch it again. But it's 3 hours long, so I ain't watching it again until it comes out on DVD or whatever.
It's more Dunkirk than Inception.
Yeah, but Dunkirk still has action. Like he's never made a movie. I
think I like Dunkirk better than Inception.
I think Dunkirk is probably his second best movie. First being
Insomniac. Yeah,
I don't like Insomniac at all. That's his worst movie.
I know. Yeah.
But it's interesting, right? Like, I don't think he's ever made a movie like that.
Well, it's another movie about obsession, though, right? Like, that's his...
And I didn't...
That's kind of his bit, right?
It's also about time, because it's edited non-linearly. Like, it's not as jarring as it's been in other movies, but it's interesting how he does it, because it's a biopic, but the way he like Dr. Manhattan's it, right? Like, there's stuff that happens at the end of the movie that's happening during the beginning, and I actually think it keeps it interesting. It's one of the things that kind of justifies its runtime, because he manages to tell tell kind of a flatter A to B story, but in a way to keep you engaged with it. But anyway, that's enough. I already talked too long. We're going to have a lot to talk about with Star Wars. So, Gogs, what did you watch?
I watched two things. Both of them were trash.
Hell yeah.
Both of them were better than what we watched. So here we go. I watched, let's start with the worst of the two things. Actually, the second one's not trash. The first thing I watched the 2023 remake of Children of the Corn on Shudder by Kurt
Wimmer?
War Crimes Wimmer. Yeah.
Oh.
The guy
I was just joking.
No, 100%. No, it's he sucks. He's
more about equilibrium later, possibly.
No. Here's the deal. I'm willing to just throw out equilibrium. Like I will go scorched earth on Kurt Wimmer just because I love equilibrium, I think, but I'm willing to just say I hate it now.
We liked Ultraviolet too, though.
I'm good with hating that. I'm good with hating Sphere, a movie I thought I liked.
Did he make Sphere?
He did the adaptation.
Oh.
He's a writer.
He didn't direct it, yeah.
He directed four things. He directed Children of the Corn, which sucks. Here's what sucks about it. You know what's good about Children of the Corn? The original.
Not karate?
There's that. So what's good about the original Children of the Corn with John Connor's mom is that it's like haunting and weird, and you never see he who walks behind the rose. He's this implied threat, and it's really like, is he or isn't he? But I guess by the end, because it's fucking Stephen King.
God,
like, it is.
Is it fucking like the Rob Zombie Halloween? Do they have to deconstruct all? Okay.
Oh, no. Legit corn monster shows up at some point with corn for a face, and it's eating people. And then here's the other thing that happens. They tried to make the children of the corn sympathetic because, much like Rob Zombie's Halloween, they made the townspeople seem like short-sighted boomers that were selling out the town's future, and they're trying to make it an environmental thing. It's awful. It is just my kids walking in the background, so I'm not going to say all the words I want to say, but they're both here. And let me tell you, think about all the things I would normally say about this times 10. I hated it. I hated it so much. And then I watched another Shudder movie, which I didn't hate as much. But both you don't have to be here to watch it. Fair enough. They're watching the popcorn get popped. Anywho, I watched a movie called The Devil's Candy.
I watched that movie. Didn't we talk about this? This is that terrible movie with
Ethan Embry.
No. I'm sorry. I watched this movie. So I watched this movie over at the Dead Air Horror Review Show. What a disappointing movie. Because it starts out with such promise. That guy, Gogs, directed a movie that you should watch called The Loved Ones, and that movie fucking rules. Like, that movie is great. Oh,
didn't you talk about that again?
What's that?
Did you just talk about The Loved Ones again recently?
A couple of weeks ago, yeah. So, but Devil's Candy, man, it starts out and it's so cool. Like, it starts out with that fucking weirdo murdering somebody and then starts playing guitar and you're like, what is this movie? And then
he's playing with the Flying V, he's got the Marshall amp, and then there's a disproportionate respect for Metallica. But then it's like a movie that has ideas but doesn't coalesce into anything tangible. And then at the very end, there's a weird sort of moment where they does Ethan Embry see God, and does God tell them where to find the buried suitcases with people in them? What is happening? The movie sucks, but it doesn't suck as bad as Attack of the Clones, as it doesn't suck as bad as Children of the Corn, the 2023 remake. As of right now, the 2023 remake of Children of the Corn is the worst thing I've seen the worst 2023 movie I've seen thus far. It's July. There's still a lot of year left, but it's real bad. The Devil's Candy thing has some cool ideas, and it's got some legitimately disturbing parts to it, legitimately disturbing. But it's not a movie; it's barely a film. So there's that. So now we can start talking about Attack of the Clones as soon, because I need to swear a lot. So hopefully,
yeah. But let's go out to the
enjoy the popcorn. That's fine. I did smell the popcorn; it smells delicious. Keep it 100. All right, so.
Are we good?
Yeah.
No. I mean, are we good to talk?
No, yeah, we're good. Let's go. Let's
Jesus Christ, this movie.
Yeah, it's so literally.
Have you guys ever watched the movie this many times that you've hated this much?
Here's the thing about this movie. Can I share something real quick?
Absolutely.
This movie came out. Maybe it was my junior year of college, and I remember it was a very big deal. It was like spring semester, junior year of college, like everyone was just back or some such, and it was like a big deal because we were trying to coordinate everybody. It's like, oh, we're going to see Attack of the Clones tonight, and we went to downtown. We went to a cool theater in D.C. and we saw it. We sat like an upper balcony. It wasn't the Senator, but it was something like the Senator. You know what I'm talking about, TJ? What's that big cool theater in D.C.?
The AFI.
Not the one in Silver Spring. It's like the Senator but bigger.
I forget what it's.
But it has a balcony and it's it's grand. And I remember leaving that going, oh, that was a lot of fun. And it's like every viewing after. I think this is probably only the fourth time I've seen this movie. This movie sucks so much shit. Like this movie is there is nothing. There is not one iota of joy that can be derived from this movie. There's no good part to this movie. Like you could say what you will about pod racing in episode 1 and the Duel of the Fates in episode 1. And I got to watch it again, I guess, but I'm sort of an episode 3 apologist because I feel like the fight on Mustafar isn't bad, but like this movie sucks. And I thought General Grievous was in it. So we get that goofiness. It's not. Do we need to talk about the plot? Do we have to recap the plot of episode 2?
I mean, can you recap the plot?
I can very briefly.
Do it very quickly because it is as much as it's a straight line, it is a contrived mess. Like
just dude, everybody's seen this movie, right, Gogs? Just go ahead and give it the old what parts happen in this one.
This part's happened in this one. This is the Senate. This is Palpatine leveraging, like suckering a racist fish person into giving him the chancellorship because this dopey groomer queen is out getting revenge with her autistic, like, Jedi Knight. Meanwhile, you've got Obi-Wan Kenobi out here with Kamino, like, trying to act like he knows what's happening while simultaneously asking the dumbest questions possible to try and act like you know what's happening. Like, the people from El Camino, like, they know how to clone people, but they don't know how to understand jumps in logic. Like if I show up and I'm like, yeah, I'm here to inspect. What's going on here again? Like that doesn't raise a red flag in your stupid neck. And then the whole point is, meanwhile, Count Dooku is out there with the Separatists who I guess are in retrospect are based with 20/20 vision because they were the ones defying the totalitarian empire. Yeah. And so he uses this as a wag the dog scenario to get a super army together, and then it's just crap.
Since you brought it up, this is the thing I used to think, but now realize that I didn't. Now the movie doesn't make any sense. If you would have asked me prior to this screening who Master Sifo Dyas was, I'd be like, oh, that's Count Dooku, and before when he was a Jedi, before he got his land baronship or what, we'll get into his title later. But I thought they were the same guy, and he was playing both sides. You know, he's creating and they're manufacturing this war. That is not what happened. The Master Sifo Dyas is just some guy that had a feeling that there was going to be a war and ordered a clone army. So it's total happenstance. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. When Sean told me that, it blew my fucking mind. Because
how is that even a thing? No, hold on. No. Walk me through it one more time.
Okay. So I thought, what I thought was, what Master Sifo Dyas was previously the Count Dooku. And he was creating the army. And then as Count Dooku was ginning up the Separatist army to manufacture this conflict so so Palpatine could take over, right?
That is correct. That is what's happening.
That is not correct. According to Wikipedia, I'm telling you, according to Wikipedia, Master Sifo Dyas is a totally separate entity. That now I don't know if they had to write backwards for this because it's not. I mean, who knows what Lucas has floating around in Ben's Nugget. But he is just another Jedi who had a feeling that there would be a great war and ordered this clone army irrespective of everything else that was going on.
How did he have the unilateral? Who signed the PO on that?
Well, thank you, Doug. When I was watching the movie, I was like, so they just made like 400.
They said they had 250,000 soldiers with another 1 million on back order.
Yeah.
Who signed the Sifo Dyas guy? If this is true.
Yeah. Well, I'm not lying to you. This is what I read.
What you read is wrong. It's not possible. It doesn't make it is the most in a movie that has like insanely stupid jumps in logic to undercut the one thing that might be remotely intriguing by making it like this Jedi had like a wet dream about a war, so he somehow unilaterally commissioned a secret army of 250,000 Maori clones.
Directly from the Star Wars databank, Sifo Dyas, a member of the Jedi Council before the blockade of Naboo, Sifo Dyas believed the galaxy would soon be plunged into war and agitated for the Republic to create an army for its defense.
They wrote that after the fact. They're filling in gaps.
Well, that's what I told
They wrote
Sean.
that after the fucking fact.
I don't think Lucas knows this.
No way.
Also,
0%. Absolutely. I don't doubt that it says that on the internet, but 0% chance that when George Lucas was zooted up out of his mind trying to figure out how to make Jar Jar dolls appealing to the masses, he was like, here's an idea. Let's just make this character who no one's ever heard of, who gets 0 screen time, who's never even been referenced up until this point, the unilateral power to commission a whole goddamn clone army.
There's no explanation. So this is a thread that kind of just totally unraveled me, right? So, I never thought about this before, but what is the motivation of the Jedi as an organization? Because, I always kind of took them as just being, a stand-in for, the Catholic Church. But, the Catholic Church has congregations and, they proselytize and they make money. How do the Jedi get money? Who's paying for any of this? And also, does the average Republic citizen know that, fucking psychic priests are halfway running their government?
Well, they're the Iranian morality police. They're here to keep the peace.
I always thought that George Lucas is heavily influenced by Dune, and I feel like the Jedi are just a knockoff of the Bene Gesserit, but they're the good version, whereas the Bene Gesserit...
the Bene Gesserit, but they're also
but the Bene Gesserit has a goal.
Right. Well, they're also a little insidious.
Well, no. But to be fair, the Jedi also have a goal. They're supposed to bring about balance to the Force with the chosen one.
So this is.
But what does that even mean?
But what does that mean? Sean's right. Also,
no. It's stupid.
Well, I also accepted this a lot as a kid because you're right. That's what they always talk about: balance. But
the balance is on the good side. That's
wouldn't there have to be?
But that doesn't get introduced until these movies.
True.
Right.
So here's the deal. I always thought of them as sort of like battle priest samurais.
Sure.
Wizards.
But
samurai
were retainers to a government that were paid. So is that the situation here?
Benevolent Ronin then. I don't know. They're just here to keep the peace of the Republic with their space magic.
Now that I'm thinking about all this shit, here's another thing I never thought of, Gogs. Did this ever occur to you that the Republic had no military of any sort prior to this?
Not till you just said those words out loud, but yeah, that's nightmarish. I can't believe that's actually...
this entire republic that's responsible for guarding I don't know how many untold worlds from whatever the fuck...
No. Hold up, that's not true. They did not have a unified standing army that represented the republic.
They didn't have a federal army.
No.
All the planets had their own...
militias at this point.
But But they go, okay, the Jedi, in the beginning of the movie, it's we're keepers of the peace, not soldiers. In the same movie, they're out there giving fucking battle orders, and they should, the clones of Geonosis should all get killed in 10 seconds. It should be a fucking bloodbath.
Yeah.
But they immediately snap to it, so now they invented this clone military, and now these Jedi, who are constantly you can't trust politicians, they're now generals in a, what is their moral stance?
Yeah, Sean.
And TJ brought it up offline. I'm sorry. I don't know if this is what you're getting at. Yeah. Is that, they seem to have almost zero compunction about this fucking, existential nightmare of lives that just got created specifically to be disposed of.
Well, and also, I was going to go to your point where, and Sean and I talked a lot about this analog, but the thing is, like, you know, Sean texted to me, and he's right. You know, there's a line where he's like, oh, we're not soldiers. And then it's like, immediately they're like leading armies. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, how do they know how to do any of this stuff? Like, how are they coordinating fucking attacks? Like, it's so like discombobulated and stupid. Like, again, to go back to Lucas's like core intent, right? Lucas was very influenced by like samurai movies. So you could see that the Jedi are another kind of an allegory to samurais, right? But samurais were just like hired guns, more or less, for like the shogunate.
Just hired goons. Yeah.
So wait a minute. They were not like peacekeepers and soldiers.
They certainly weren't priests.
And also, hold on, one last thing before I forget it, guys. I apologize. And because we're going to get into this in another topic, but like, so the Jedis are all about like preserving life, right? So they're perfectly fine. Like, they could have started a fucking droid army too, because they're not alive. I mean, it's questionable that they have sentience, so they're kind of alive. But they create 250,000 troops that they're like, fuck it. And then later on, when fucking Anakin gets revenge on people that literally murdered his mother, it's like, oh, like, what is?
No, there's a lot of weird pearl clutching.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
So wait a minute. So wait. Hold on.
I feel like I fucked something up in you. So I'm glad you're with me now.
No. So like, if Cypher Dyas did this,
yes.
Did Sidious Palpatine? Did he just stumble fuck his way into this scenario?
I don't think he knew about it.
Stop. Hold.
Okay, sorry.
This movie takes place 10 years after the Phantom Menace, right?
Yeah, give or take. I don't know.
No, 10 years exactly, because fucking Anakin says, I've been jerking off to you for 10 years.
Also, Anakin goes from being 7 to 25.
Also, real quick. For we to believe, if they just explained, I was screaming this to myself in my car on the way home. If they'd explained it with some Nolan-esque Inception time dilation between planets and gravity and stuff, and maybe it was 4 weeks for Amidala, it was 10 years for Anakin. I'd be like, that's
see, that would have required a clever piece of writing. Yeah.
But now the Star Wars universe is so fucking stupid that it's flat time. It's everyone's experiencing. It's anti-relativistic.
I never thought about that, guys. You're right. Like, the Star Wars explicitly is like thousands of
relativity, schmelativity.
You know, I never thought of that.
If it's Tuesday on Coruscant, it's Tuesday on Naboo. So anyway. What was I getting at?
I thought it was bad enough that there's a planet Nubia and a planet Naboo, and they're two different places.
The Nubia thing, they retconned that. That cannot be real. They're retconning Cypher Dyas. They're retconning Nubia. Here's the deal. So, 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, Sidious is like, I need to start making these space Chinese. Give us a reason to do stuff, and he does it, right?
Yeah.
He creates a tax lien situation on the planet Naboo, right, to start the dominoes falling to make an Imperial army and make the play. That was 10 years ago when Cypher Dyas says, hey guys, maybe we should start a clone army, because that was 10 years ago as well. That's when Cypher Dyas died. It was 10 years ago. So my question is, did Palpatine stumble fuck his way into this?
I don't think Palpatine is aware of the clone army until way after
he launches it. He just gets lucky.
No.
He just gets lucky to make the war machine that he needs to consolidate power.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
because here's why, Gogs. Because why wouldn't he? Obviously, the clones have just been sitting around fucking jerking each other off. We shouldn't fuck our clones like that guy obviously did during the events of the first movie. So why wouldn't at the end of the first movie they bring them in if he's aware of it already?
Because he needed the political reason to be granted the unlimited power.
They already have the political reason. They've got the fucking separatist thing going on.
Well, the separatist thing was fueled. I always understood it. And I'm not trying to defend anything. I'm just trying to explain how my mind got around this. I always thought the separatist thing was effectively sparked by the Trade Federation conflict at Naboo. That was the That was the shot
the thing
around the world.
But that's the thing he's explicitly manipulating. There's no shown interaction between him and anything that happened on Kamino or Jango Fett or anything. Because to wit,
I'm not gonna lie. I thought maybe Sifo Dyas was what Palpatine's name used to be.
I thought it was Dooku because that makes way more sense.
Also, why do all the Jedis have Jedi sounding names, and then this guy is Count Dooku? Why is
what is his gosh, Count is what is that nobility? What does that mean?
It's like a duke. It's like just a landed gentry.
Did he marry into it or something? Because when you're a Jedi, they erase your whole lineage, right? So
also
to TJ's point, and I didn't think about this whole. I know this is gonna be all over the place, but TJ's point about when Obi-Wan shows up on Kamino, the biggest fucking idiot, he just he's standing on a gas leak. They are not plussed at all the fact that he obviously has no idea what's going on. He's just some dude in a robe that says he's a Jedi that just wandered into their heretofore unknown planet. They didn't go, how did you get here?
That is
wait, stop. Okay, here's some other stuff. Now I gotta ask some more things about that. So I assumed that either Dooku or Sidious were Sifo Dyas, or they were playing Sifo Dyas. Maybe they were pretending to be him, and then that was also how they got into the Jedi archives and erased Kamino from the maps that they had to ask the kindergartners about, and the kindergartners were like, well, just go where it should be, and Yoda's like, oh, well, that's a good idea. Also, little Yoda looked like dog shit. So how do they have the technology to erase the archives, but they leave the gravity well in there? Did they not think to brush that out or something? This movie is so dumb. It's so dumb. I cannot wrap my head around the idea.
Oh gosh, here's one that'll bake your noodle.
No.
So you're allowed to just get another guy to cover for you at the biggest vote in the history of voting. Why can't she Skype in?
Well, why would she even allow, this couldn't wait till next week when she's back?
Dude, they have interstellar holograph technology that they use. Why can't she just Skype in?
Can I, speaking of holograms, again, this episode's all over the place. There's a scene on Kamino that really bothers me where Obi-Wan calls in a status report to the Jedi Council, but he does it out in the fucking rain. Why would you do that out in the rain?
Oh, that's not the part I was thinking, because I think he mentioned this, where they're he's doing that and he obviously gets shot, and Yoda turns the window and goes, I think there's something more to what's going on over there.
Yeah, no shit, Yoda. Yoda sucks, by the way. Yoda is the fucking worst in this movie.
I remember getting all fanboy when he popped out his lightsaber and whippity snippets around the room. And it's dumb now. Can we talk real quick about how jank I know we are all over the board, but I don't care anymore. I got to get this out of my chest. So first of all, for being a benevolent leader, Amidala didn't give a fuck about her handmaidens. They just get got left, right, and center, right? You were meat for the grinder if you were a pretty white woman.
Yeah, you were who wants that job?
No, but who's interviewing for this? So now, the assassin, who turns out to be a fish person in the end, when after they hunt through the unconceivable, whatever the term, sky Blade Runner chase through Coruscant, right? At some point, the assassin gets out of their Skymobile, their George Jetson car, in the jankiest anime. I don't think anyone in those scenes was in the same state. If you can change your appearance at will, why'd you wear a mask?
Right. Yeah.
Oh my god. What? Yeah, that was so wildly unnecessary. Also, could you bite off a dune anymore by sending actual organic hunter killer centipede things as opposed to robot centipede things?
Just hover outside her window and light it up. You know what I mean?
Remember I know we don't like Into Darkness, but that scene in it's
the best scene in the movie
when they just unload on all the Arc fleet. That's
actually what I was picturing when I said it.
That's dope. what's with all the spy craft? It's unnecessary. And then like the other guys are sitting in the other room just waiting to feel bugs.
You know, TJ made a really good point too offline. Is like because when you said Kurt Wimmer, it made me think of it again. They're supposed to be like the fucking Grammaton priests in Equilibrium, but they're also like in Equilibrium. They're always like incredibly emotional.
Yeah.
Like Obi-Wan like is like a smarmy asshole, and he's always mad. Anakin's just a complete loose cannon. Also, Yoda can tell Anakin's mad from, I don't know how far Coruscant is from Tatooine, but it's certainly farther than when they're in the same room, and he's like, you go with Padme, even though, like, we can sense your erection.
You can see his boner.
I mean, and also, the only thing that I liked about this movie, Natalie Portman, like, beautiful. She looks great in this movie.
Yeah.
But
her acting is...
It's not her fault. Literally everyone is
Christopher Lee.
Horrendous in this movie.
Yeah, well, I would have told you that if you were, I would have been like, well, Ewan McGregor's fun. But he's awful in this movie.
He's so wooden.
Also, like, this
weapon is your life.
This leads us perfectly into the next thing I really want to talk about is this screenplay is so bad. The script is so fucking bad. And everyone, like, and I can't help it, but like I see, like sometimes when you read a writer or see a screenplay, you can kind of see the person, right? Like I feel like Tarantino is like that. Like you see how he talks in interviews, and then you see how his characters talk. And while it's not like 1-to-1, but like maybe that's a bad example because he does write good characters. But like all the Lucas stuff is like I hate every fucking Lucas scene. He's got to put a button on everything.
Well, everybody,
I hate when he does that.
But the thing is, everybody has the same emotional reaction to everything.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? They don't feel like unique individuals. It's just like it's like, this is how a thing is supposed to react in this situation. That kiss, which you should not have given me, by the way. Like,
oh God. And also, like, I should have pointed it out.
We talk about Anakin, like however old he's supposed to be. He comes across like a 12-year-old in this entire movie. He seems insane.
He's an emotionally disturbed. He's coming off like he's on the spectrum. And then he can't, like, regulate his emotions.
He never listens. He's mean, and he sucks, and I hate him. And it's like, also, like, there's
I
a scene where,
him,
like,
and I love him. He's my dad.
And I know why functionally it's in there. It's so the audience understands, but it's like, with Master Jedi Anakin, it's like, Anakin is not officially a Jedi. He is still the rank of a Padawan learner. It's like, what the fuck? Did you have to, like, fucking bury him like that, one? And two, like, who the fuck talks like that?
Like, no one talks like anything in this.
Yeah, and like the romantic dialogue between Anakin and Padme is so bad. It's like, so you were blinded by love? I really wish I wrote it down because it's so bad. It's like unbelievably bad, and like I feel so terrible for all these actors because then they have to fucking react to this terrible garbage, and that's why
she's like, don't look at me like that. It makes me uncomfortable. But then he's like, and then I killed them. I slaughtered them like fucking animals. And she's like, well, getting mad is being human. It's like, what? What are
you talking about? Like, none of this, no one reacts to anything the way humans would react. And then everyone, like, every scene, like, buttons or ends with, like some grandiose statements, like, well, then there's going to be war or something. And then it just ends. Everything's so weird and curt and quick. But then the parts that are drawn out are shit. This movie sucks.
Also, Obi-Wan instigates the whole fight with Jango Fett on Kamino.
Yeah,
he's just like getting
no reason.
Right, he's getting in the ship, and little Boba or whatever is like, "Hey, look out!" And he looks over, and Obi-Wan has got that thing on him. He's ready to go.
Well, it's because they found out that So wait, if I remember correctly, so now I'm freaking out. He ends up on El Camino because the dart that killed the shape changer was of El Caminan design.
Well, yeah, because everybody's too stupid except for the fat dinosaur that runs the fucking breakfast place. Like, it's like the Ark. They only look for symbols. They don't look for other identifying features.
Right.
Like, I was
they went to Mel's Diner and they
we need this whole bit of dialogue to arrive at this point. Why couldn't he just go to the archive and do it? Like, what is the function of this specifically? You know what I mean? Like, what is the point of that? Like, you don't get anything. It's not like it's not like, you'd be like, oh, this, it's some ancient Sith thing and they don't want to talk about it and you have to go somewhere and it's like, oh, they're not going to tell you, but this is such and such, whatever. It's just like everybody at the Jedi Council is a fucking idiot.
They're also incredibly weak for like that scene when they go to the fucking like gladiator thing. Like, they barely can handle themselves against a bunch of fucking battle droids. Like, what? They're like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, didn't Mace Windu say something to the effect of he's been feeling weaker lately? Now,
they said that it's been clouding or interfering with the Force, but your man's stone cold, poor Jango Fett. Like, this is like the tragedy of this guy's whole life, because, like, he gets almost killed by Obi-Wan, almost gets blown up, and then motherfucker just straight up cuts his head off.
Oh, a mush, a smash match. What's the term when you just body somebody?
It's a squash.
A squash match. He puts up next to no fight. Next thing his head is just rolling around.
This is not the first time Mace Windu's decapitated somebody unaware.
No, he did that clean.
Well, do you guys remember way back before the movies came out, the prequels? And there was all this speculation about Mace Windu because his lightsaber's purple because he's like a darker Master Jedi.
No, he just like purple.
Yeah, it was just none of that.
No, he's just a pimp.
You knew this movie was going to be fucking whack when the game they released was just like a fucking like a vehicular combat game. Like, we should have known then. Also, TJ's like that little reel makes me laugh. But it's like, we all know that like the Nemoidians are supposed to sound like Chinese guys from like a 40s cereal, right? And then there's just this one dude that sounds like Tony Todd for no reason. Like, everybody's like, do you think they discovered the plan? He's like,
we gotta get these ships back into space. Like, it's like what the fuck?
What is he? Oh, Gogs. Clear this up for me. Are the Sand people raping Shmi Skywalker?
Presumably.
Is that what I'm supposed to take from that? Like, is that intentional?
I can't imagine. I've never tied up a woman to wood like that in a room, but I can only imagine that's the only thing.
Like, why else would they tie her in that
particular way?
Also, Gogs brings up TJ brought a good point about Klieg, Lars. The idea
Joel Edgerman?
No, his dad. Like the marrying your slave, the morality of
very Thomas Jefferson of
it. Also, and I can't, every time I see the prequels, I have to point this out because I hate it so fucking much. I hate the fact that Lucas had to put 3PO and R2 in these things because fucking Uncle Owen buys 3PO 30 years later but doesn't remember him, and it's like, he lived with you, you stupid fuck.
Even though he must kind of remember him because he clearly knows what C-3PO's function is, even though also, I'm glad you brought this up. The screenplay implies that they've been eating mushrooms that are growing on the side of evaporator coils, which one, ew, and two, like, seems like a good way to get Legionnaire's disease.
He's gonna get space Legionnaire's disease.
Or they're just tripping balls, like, this is like space, psilocybin, like, it's just getting weird out there.
I know I've brought this up a million times, and it's such a small thing, but like, in your script, when everything is a youngling and a death stick and a whatever the fuck, like, for Joel Edgerton to go, this is my girlfriend, is so fucking bizarre, like, I can't even deal with it.
Yeah, it's just, well, there's no, like, consistency, right? Like, in any aspect of the movie.
The whole movie is to explain everything in the new movies, but, like, but they do such a bad job. Like, it's like Joel Edgerton has met Anakin once, and not probably in the best frame of mind, but he's going to raise his kid in secret as his uncle. Like, no thanks. You keep him, Ben. Like, what the fuck am I going to do with it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's everything that Lucas did to try to tie it into the overarching, it just doesn't work. Like, again, How
did Joel Edgerman know that they were half brothers no, they weren't half, but they were step brothers. Like, how did he figure that out immediately? He even says it. He goes, I guess we're step brothers. Like,
yeah.
Maybe he just makes the assumption, like, who else would just wander into our fucking backwards bullshit with a lightsaber?
Yeah, it's just such a mess.
Also,
and
like, why would you have a protocol droid whose main means of conveyance is probably going to be flying and allow it to be afraid of flying? Like, that's weird.
Also, do you think C-3PO? Do you think you can benchmark for Scion PC? Do you think he ever rectified the fact that Darth Vader made him?
No.
Well, they wipe his memory, right?
In the fucking last one they did.
Yeah, but they don't wipe anybody else. Like, am I supposed to understand that Obi-Wan is playing coy when it's like, I can't seem to recall these two droids who I'm intimately acquainted with that we had a fucking medal ceremony for?
Yeah, you're right about that. Also, the fucking goddamn the CPO, the 3PO and R2 shit is so annoying because it's just like, there's all this shit happening.
I mean, I know why it's in there, but like, why?
Too, and it's like, oh god, it's so tedious and like, just cut it all out. It doesn't need to be in the movie. Like
Obi-Wan is like the worst detective on Earth, but he's also like the luckiest person on Earth because he just shows up at fucking Geonosis right when they happen to be like admitting all culpability to everything.
At their big evil conference room because that's all
them monologuing.
Lucas only knows how to shoot people talking, like sitting down and talking. I'm not the first person to make that observation, but man, is it true. Like, no one says anything dramatically. Like, it's always just sitting down and fucking talking. It's so fucking...
It's a good thing how's it going with that assassination on that government person? Almost as good as growing our illegal army. Also,
it's like everyone's performing for a wiretap.
Geonosians are like, the bug things are like sentient beings, correct? Like...
They have to be.
So, there's no mention of Anakin who, like, he could have force pushed him, he could have walked out the door. Nope, he just carves these motherfuckers up like nothing.
Yeah, well,
and like, I know, but Padme's not like, hey man, relax. This is just like, whatever. I hope if a thing stamps your arm down, it happens to be the perfect shape to go around your arm for some reason.
Yeah, what was that about? Like, what robot
why that factory so tall, Gogs?
Why is that factory... like, there's so many things about that factory that don't make a lick of sense. Yeah.
Also, it's like we got those droidicas. We've got, like, literally, like, billions of them, but we'll just roll 3 out there because I don't want to waste them.
Just why not?
Why don't they send all of them? Like, it's like... I know, like, you know, playing with your food or whatever, but they're, like... They should try and get rid of these things as quickly as possible and not just kind of fucking dick around with it until like, a perimeter form around this. It's like you don't realize how annoying that Yoda speak is until he has to like give directions and have normal conversations and not just like those goofy little talks he has with Luke.
Like, yeah, like when he said like a perimeter form. It's like, if I was one of those like clones, I'd be like, someone reset this or reset me. I'm doing something wrong because nothing talks like this.
No.
Oh.
And who built all the fucking machinery? Like, I get where the clones, did the Kaminoans build all the fucking...
No, it was a package deal. It came with them. Like, for every 1,000 clones, you get one walker.
No, but like, seriously, is that like, did they make them there? Is it ever, okay, is it said?
Even though it doesn't make any sense because all of the Star Destroyers come from Kuat engine drives on a different planet.
Yeah.
I guess the Kaminoans...
How does the Republic have no formal military? Also, like, if we're going to go through all this rigmarole of the Jedi training and all them, they're just constantly, like, waving lightsabers around. I have a scene where you teach them how to settle fucking trade disputes and land disagreements because they seem to be doing that an awful lot.
A lot. Yeah. Or just, I think, what I think happens is up until this point, right? Up until this point, everyone uses their well-regulated state militias. And the fucking Jedi just act as the Empire's like, they're like the control rods. They're just trying to keep the peace between all these militias.
But does the Republic well, that's one thing. Are there interplanetary conflicts in the Republic? And also, is there no the idea of an external threat? Because like all of space is pretty big. So am I to understand that like the Republic encompasses all of space? Like, so they don't need a military?
I think it's like they would probably say something like the rim world. There's probably like a center, which is the Republic.
Yeah.
And then there's like the outer reaches is like where like the separatists are forming.
Yeah.
But like to answer your first question, I think the entire point of in the first movie where they go and talk to the Trade Federation was to settle an interplanetary dispute. Which
no, but I mean, I meant like an actual like armed conflict.
Well, I mean, it ended up being an armed conflict.
Sure.
I imagine.
What does the Trade Federation do precisely? I don't understand.
Well, they federate trade.
Sure.
Foremost.
Do they just do they own all the interplanetary shipping lanes? Like, what is their function?
Or the Spacing Guild? He's just ripping off Dune.
More Dune stuff, yeah.
Sure, but are the planets not allowed to trade with each other without? Are they like are they a government intermediary, or like they're their own government, right?
I think they're independent contractors. I think you just have to they're the ones that control the.
But what do they do?
Space libertarians.
Yeah, they're like space toll agents. I don't know, man. It's all dumb. This is dumb. It's
like
super
the
dumb.
idea that they have no formal defense, even if let's say there are interplanetary armed conflicts, how are they supposed to mediate them with no force? Like always,
right? Yeah.
You would think they would have something.
I've never thought of it until now, but you're right. It's and it's lasted for centuries, decades. How Coruscant is not brand spanking new, right? Has
a man and his boy slave with laser swords managed to manage every dispute throughout the galaxy forever?
It's kind of ridiculous.
It's kind of what you're led to believe because the way it's framed is the creation of the Republic Army is like the fading. It's not even how it's framed. It's the phasing out of the Jedi. So you were led to believe just through the narrative that if this is the new thing, then the old thing was simply just
even though Obi-Wan explicitly says that they're Jedis, not soldiers, even though that seems to be explicitly what they're used for.
For that plot to work the way it does, the Separatists would have had to invented violence like that week.
Right. No, it's,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. They came up with lying. No one's ever lied before. It's silly, and I also think it's kind of funny that they
could at least have a UN thing where it's maybe Naboo supplies 80% of the military hardware, but all the other member nations have to or planets would have to deliver some kind of troop or something because they literally have nothing.
Yeah. No.
That's fucking stupid.
Also, all the good guys are just
and they couldn't grow some fucking generals in that tank too. Also, I know we're getting way further into this than it probably needs to be, but why would they pick Jango Fett? He's just a bounty hunter. He's not a soldier, right? Why is he the ultimate military stock?
Why wasn't Master Sifo-Dyas just spitting into a tube and just make me a whole army of Sifo-Dyas?
Again, who paid for it? Where does the Jedi finances come from? Because it's not like they're in a cave somewhere. They got nice shit.
No, and
who's paying for any of this?
And tax and financial disputes are on the forefront of a lot of plots, so clearly people care about the money.
Do you think they're embezzling it? The Jedi? That's part of the fucking trade? Are they paying them to negotiate trade disputes?
I feel like the Jedi have some sort of space equivalent to the Amex Black Card. They can just kind of do whatever they want with unlimited credits. Yeah, exactly.
I never really thought about it before, but a movie about space politics, none of the politics make any sense if you examine it, at all.
At all. No.
The motivations for everyone is dumb.
Well, yeah, and I don't understand anybody's motivations, character-wise.
The only person that has that clear motivation in his movie is Anakin, and he's just horny.
Horny. What the fuck is Dooku doing? Because he, has that speech about how he thinks with fucking Obi-Wan where he's trying to destroy the Sith, but what? He's hanging out.
No, he's just lying there. He's just trying to.
I don't know if he is. They're also the Jedi Council is also aware and unaware of the Sith. It wasn't the last movie. I guess the Sith are back. But the Sith are usually only two people, is what I understood.
No, it's the stupidest contrivance. Yeah, it's there's only ever a master and an apprentice and a master.
Right, but they know as a matter of absolute fact that the Sith are clouding them, all of them, from using the Force. How?
Yeah, well, doesn't that just speak to how much more power? Like, did that just speak to how much more powerful the dark side must be? And isn't that better
if one dude can cripple, I assume we're talking about, like, thousands of Jedi, like, for that whole infrastructure,
well, no, I think they all
right?
showed
It's not
up
like
at the
6
end.
dudes. You think that was all of them?
I think that's it. I think they shot their loads. I think they were probably like 40.
Well, no, because in Order 66, they're all over the place, right? Like, they're all on different planets and stuff. It's like, I'm going to go do a weird rogue investigation. It's like, go ahead, Obi-Wan, just go by yourself. I'm sure shit'll be fine. Like, what happens if he gets killed out there?
Right.
Like,
this movie.
Yeah, it's fucking dumb. It's real dumb. Also, can we talk about how just terrible the overall direction is? Like, everything is, like, slapped together. Like, I think Sean said it to me, Analog. But, like, he asked me if I thought, Sean, I'll let you say it. What you said about the editing. Did you, if there was...
Oh, I said either this movie, there's 5 more hours of this movie somewhere, or literally this is the entirety of what he shot. Like, there is nothing that got cut. Like, either, there's 3 other movies, or this is it.
I'm of the opinion there's more on the cutting room floor, because so much stuff is just ham-fistedly slammed into this movie that there has to be... Maybe giving too much credit. I would think he would want to have explored it somewhere. Like, and also he's full of himself. Like, George Lucas has to. Well, there's absolutely no way.
The defense of Lucas, in the kind of new observance of these movies is that, like, yeah, well, at least he had original ideas. Well, it's like,
he did
sometimes, even if he did, sometimes original ideas are bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, this is bad. Like, it's not a rehash.
Idea?
Well, because it's not like how the sequel trilogy is basically like it's just a rehash of the other movies. Like, well, he was trying to do something different.
This is just a bad version of Dune. This is literally just a bad version of Dune. And that's the same plot. Space Emperor trying to consolidate power.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about it.
War. Like, it's just Dune. Like, it's all it is. And it's terrible.
Huh.
Yeah, you're right about that, Cog.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever put that together.
Was there an Imperial force in Dune? Like, I know the Sardaukar.
Yeah, the Sardaukar.
Yeah, right. So at least they had, like, a CI. And at least they had something, like...
Something. I don't know, I'm not saying the way he did it is dumb. I'm just saying his inspiration, what he's ripping off could not be more clear. Like, he just wants the Jedi being the Jedi looking for the Kwisatz Haderach, like them being basically the Bene Gesserit, like the evil space empire, them trying to manipulate and pull all the strings in the background, someone rising up to be the one that brings balance to everything at the end of the day.
But the thing is, like, so as far as they know, so with this prophecy, right, they're going to bring balance to the Force. Let's pick at this for a second. First movie, he's going to bring balance to the Force. Okay. The Force is already all good, as far as they know, because they don't think the Sith exists anymore.
Right.
So, like, does that mean he needs to be evil? Like, and
right,
that's
so
what
like,
they're gunning
from
for?
Jump Street, if there's no Sith, it's out of balance, right?
Right. So, like, that's like, I really like this cake and it's awesome, but I wish somebody would punch me in the penis so, like, I don't like it too much.
Appreciate the cake more, right?
Like what the fuck? You don't need balance in the Force. The Force seems to be doing fine.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it makes absolutely no fucking sense. Also, like, I don't know, like, everything that they do, like, well, like, a Jedi can't be in love, and it's like, a senator can't, get married. Like, what is this? Like, George Lucas, like, I think he's had
because
sex,
he's trying to make parallels, right? But, like, there isn't one.
Right, it doesn't
because they're two different jobs.
Yeah, but like think about this, right? much like the Catholic Church. Imagine they just let him get laid. All the trouble we could have avoided.
Oh yeah.
Well, like if you get way deep into some of the Jedi lore, there's some of them that are allowed to have families and shit because their race is so small, like they don't reproduce enough or some shit. Like it's just like it doesn't make any. But it's the equilibrium problem again. It's like, oh, we have to be serene and blah blah. Everybody's always fucking yelling at each other. Everybody's fucking mad all the time. Like Mace Windu, just because he's not yelling, is clearly mad the entire movie. Like it's. It's like, just make the guy a fucking Jedi Knight. Like, what are they dicking around with?
So, and like, can we? I know fuck it. Let's just keep going. Can we explore? Can we explore for a little bit, like how uncomfortable and problematic the instant love affair between what is, from a mental perspective, a 14-year-old girl and a 9-year-old boy.
Again, like
that blossomed in a week.
Him casting that kid is so weird and problematic because, like, it's always something that's bothered me, right? Because, like, he should have been the same age as Natalie Portman, right?
Maybe a year or two younger, maybe.
That would have made a lot more sense.
Oh, so you're saying that Hayden Christensen should have been Jake Lloyd?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy that. Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. Literally,
he still reads as incredibly childish now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, just make him 14 and she's 16 or something.
Figure, like Natalie Portman is our age, right? So like, back then, like, what were we when these movies came out? Like in our 20s?
19.
Yeah,
I think it came out in 98, 99, something like that.
No, it came out it was post 9/11.
No, I'm talking about the first one.
Okay. Yeah. That was 99.
So she was like 18, 19 years old. Like, cast somebody that's like 17, 18 years old. Don't cast a fucking 10-year-old. It doesn't make any sense. And it's so weird. Also, like, the fact that, like, you know, again, they make it painfully obvious, like Gox just said, that she hasn't seen him since she was a little kid. So, like, that's fucking weird. She got
real damp for him real fast. Like, was she doing this the whole, like, he was obviously smacking it the entire time. Like, that hot babysitter you remember. But, like, what was she doing, like, the whole time?
She was doing senator stuff. Like,
yeah, it's fucking
also,
weird.
their monarchy has term limits, which blows my mind, and they elected a new queen.
Yeah, but it's like we talked about. It's just like you're still ruling in absentia. Like, I don't know I don't know what the power structure of, like, because, like, they're a senator in the Galactic Senate, but they're also the queen. You know what I mean? It's like I'm the president, but I'm also a Supreme Court justice. You know, like or like I'm the governor of Minnesota, and I'm also a representative in the federal government. I mean, that would be based, but like, but yeah, like. It's, you know, and I don't want to be one of these guys, you know, if you flip it around, but if you do flip it around, like, people have been like, whoa, you can't do that. You can't have a fucking 19-year-old guy, like, meet a girl when she's 7 and then, like, they fall in love. That's fucked up. Like, don't do that.
That's groomerish.
Yeah.
It's, oh my God, is Anakin Millie Bobby Brown in this situation?
And let's keep it real, because we're keeping it real. The whole reason Lucas wanted a fucking kid is because he's terrible, and that's the old, like, you know what I mean? He was transfixed on fucking Jar Jar, and he wanted a kid because he wanted to make it like a kid's movie.
But kids don't want to pretend to be other kids. They want to pretend to be adults.
Yeah, I wanted to be fucking Han Solo. I did not want to be, like, I didn't want to be the fucking...
Last thing I wanted to be was a kid.
Yeah. It's fucking terrible. Like, but that's why he got Jake Lloyd. Like, that's why he did that. But then, again... I said this to Sean, but, like, you know how people have, like, first drafts of a script?
Yeah.
Like, they'll have an idea and then they'll write it down and then they'll kind of edit it. I don't think that Lucas has ever had, like, all his ideas are just, like, he doesn't ever have a second idea draft.
Well, could you imagine if they let him make A New Hope like this and, like, his wife didn't edit it and save the fucking movie? Because God knows what that would have been.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, I think now, because of the success of the original trilogy, it's like an Emperor's New Clothes Donald Trump scenario where no one's got the balls to tell him he's doing it wrong.
Well, he also funds everything himself. Like, he's like, it's so rich. Like, it's like, what are you going to tell him?
Yeah, if you're going to pay for it yourself, you know, then bet on yourself, Joe Flacco. Let's go. Like,
it's a fucking mess, and he can't write. Like, he cannot write. Like, the writing in this movie and the direction. Like, again, it's a 1-2 punch, right? Because the dialogue is unbelievably bad, but it's also like framed really boringly.
But it's like way worse than it is in like he wrote the script for at least A New Hope, and like it's got some hammy shit in it, but like it's a movie ostensibly for adults, so like they sound like adults.
Nobody talks like these. Like, we actually praised, you know, Yorgos Lanthimos movies and fucking Riley Stearns movies for having weird stilted dialogue, but this is like unintententionly weird stilted dialogue.
Because you cannot say this shit like cool. Like, there's no way to cool. There's no. But I'm a senator. Yeah. Like, it's like you can't. there's no way to say it. She was my wife.
I love that she wants to, like, hitch her wagon to this, like, angsty kid with super mood swings.
She doesn't, though. He just fucking negs her into marriage.
Yeah.
She marries this damaged boy who's never, like, had any kind of, like, human contact outside of getting molested at the fucking Jedi Academy. So, like, she should know better. She knows what those people are about. And then, like a small child who goes, well, we can keep our relationship secret. And she goes along with it. Like, that's insane.
Yeah. And problematic.
Right? How far?
This is like
he lives in a monastery full of psychics. How far does she think this is gonna go?
Like, why does Natalie Portman keep ending up in groomer situations with the mentally challenged? Like, it happened in The Professional. It happened in this movie.
Also, you know what happens? You get abused, and you turn out to be an abuser.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Also, there's a very funny scene with Natalie Portman in this movie where, well, first of all, she gets hurled from like a spaceship onto a desert floor, and she's fine. Presumably falls like, I don't know, 700 feet. But then, like, a trooper comes over and he's like, "Wake up, Padme," and she's like, "We got to go over there." And she literally has the funniest run I've ever seen. She has like this Unity store asset running and fucking cracks me up.
Do they have these guys are the most powerful psychics in the world. Do they need to punch these crab monsters? Can they not just crush it with the Force?
Well,
can they not just pick it up with a ball and crush it?
I like that she was falling out of a transport that was doing rice paddy strafing runs against these bug people. Like, how do you know a good Geonosian?
Also, anyone who stands still is a well-disciplined Geonosian. You ever kill any younglings? Sometimes.
Literally.
How do you do that?
Just don't even lead them as much.
The scene before the Geonosia scene, when they have this stupid assembly line scene, you have Anakin just killed all those sand people, and it's like, I can't believe he did that. And he does say he killed, like, the women and children or whatever, but, like, again, they did, like, presumably murdered many, many people, so it's like...
They raped his mom to death. Right. Like, that's what
But the immediate next scene is him literally, like, the bug people come after him, and he's just
doesn't even think about it. Yeah.
It's like, you have all these Jedi powers. Couldn't you, like, just subdue them? Like, it's not even a thought. Again, it's so fucking inconsistent, like, the entire time. Everything.
Well, like, canonically, sand people are just human under their still suits, right?
Oh, is that right? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, really?
No, that's just a costume.
Oh,
really? I thought they were
that's
like
not their
aliens.
skin. No, that's like their mask.
I thought there was some kind of gleep glops, and that's why they grunted and shit.
I'm pretty sure canonically that they are just in still suits. They're like Native Americans of Tatooine.
They're Fremen? Like, is that literally what's going on?
Yes, I believe so.
Wow.
Right. This movie's a huge rip. All of this is just a rip-off of shit.
Nubian, eh?
That was the part of the movie I liked. That Wano showed up.
Well, Anakin has to take his fucking bleep bloop language out for a walk, and it's somehow even worse than when Jake Lloyd does it, because it's like a fully grown man making these noises.
Anything else? God, we've covered so much. I feel like there's more to cover.
It's so much fun to say Nubian.
It's such a fucking mess, man. Everything is bad. There's not one good thing about this movie besides
if anyone listening to this is a episode 2 apologist. Do not address me in public. Do not speak to me. I don't want
to ever again. We haven't really addressed this, but this movie is boring. This is so fucking boring.
Well, I feel ripped off because when I looked it up, it said it was 2 hours on the dot. This movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes somehow, and nothing happens.
It's fascinating. No one can act. No one can direct. Christopher Lee, God love him.
Aren't you didn't Master Cypher Dia send you? Who's to say? Like, so, what are we doing in here?
Oh, God.
Like, honest to God, like Christopher Lee, God love him, is the only one out there trying. Like, he's doing his best.
He's the only
doing the Lord's work.
He's like, what the fuck is the point of that handle on his lightsaber? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
But it can, sense, I guess.
Also, Christopher Lee is the only one that does, he does that really over-the-top kind of Shakespearean delivery, so it kind of works for,
it's he's in Chronicles of Riddick. Like, he gets what's going on. He's I know this is stupid.
And he's doing a good job. If I have to give any sort of credit, I appreciate Lucas's restraint because what happens in the next movie where everybody's like a karate fighter with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
I like the slow, just lighting lightsaber fight between him and Anakin. I was like, wow, this is actually well shot. What happened? This looks pretty nice.
You're one day you'll be a swordman to rival Master Yoda. I thought I was already. I know we've talked about this a million times, but in reality, I don't care how good of a swordsman Yoda is. He is 1 foot tall with a sword that reflects the same. He can't even get near you.
Yeah, if you can put your hand on his forehead and he's swinging full tilt. And
it's just fucking Spaceballs.
I've said this 1,000 times, but Gogs, you'll probably know the exact number. How old was he when he died in Return of the Jedi? 800?
When I think it was several hundreds, either 6, 7, or 9. I thought.
So he's objectively 30 years younger than this, and he's spinning around and fucking it's
when 900 years old you reach
900
look as good you will not.
So he's 870.
Well, he used up all his juice fighting Palpatine.
I fucking hate it. And then,
all his spawn goo's gone.
Like I fucking said before with Lucas, there's got to be a fucking button. So, of course, after he does all the fucking crazy acrobatic shit, he gets his fucking cane back. I'm like, oh, God.
Everything he's done I wish he'd done a sword cane. He'd, just unsheathed.
Can we briefly talk about the line Obi-Wan has where he's like, we could end this war right now? It's hold up, are we at war? Because this shit's been going on for 10 minutes. What is even going on?
Right. Are we in a war? This is a low-level skirmish at this point. I don't understand. It's a fucking mess. Again, everything is a mess. This is it's one of the worst written things I've ever seen.
This Clone War has, implying that other Clone Wars have happened or will happen in the future.
He's been around for 870 years. Maybe he's seen a thing or two.
It'd be fucking, I don't know, I can't think of the fucking British Prime Minister at the time. It was begun World War I has.
I was going to say, if he had put a button on it it is World War I. It's huh. What do you know that we don't?
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think let's get the 5 knuckle shuffles, unless anything else is needed to be said.
What else is there to possibly say?
Yeah. All right. Sean.
0. This movie is fucking. It is just dog shit. It does the thing of making you think more about stupid shit that you weren't concerned about because nothing's happening, and every time they say something it's that makes no sense either in space or regular context. It's just really bad, and the kicking it around now thinking about their political and military structure, it's how did this last for thousands of not even thousands of years, I believe it's thousands of generations.
I remember he changes that because I think Obi-Wan in the original says generation, but then he says year. He switches it back and forth. He can't keep track of.
Well, I mean, thousands of generations could also be thousands of years. They're not mutually exclusive, but
they are in his universe because it's flat time everywhere.
I never thought about that until you said something that's fucking crazy. How easy that to write. It's only because I'm so in love with you. It's just let this bitch vote on Skype and the movie's over. But no, she has to cut the Jar Jar, and he cannot help himself. It's this dire, important 12 Angry Men parlor scene, and it's no, Felagets.
Honest to God, how much better would it be if she had actually voted for it? If she had been the one that actually brought the motion to the table?
Well, that's a way more
faltered.
Right.
She screwed up.
Because then she would have a character arc, Gogs.
Right. Then she's got, how much better, though?
And her arc is just to get battered into marriage.
I don't think we brought it up, but a line that kills me in this fucking movie, talking about Padme, it's right away, she's I think Count Dooku did it. And Mace Windu goes, he's a Jedi. He couldn't do that. It's not in his character.
It's not in his nature. Yeah.
You already know he's a fucking bad guy. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? Like,
right. Like, he's West, right?
Right.
He's no longer a Jedi.
I think he's a political extremist, but he's not one for violence.
Oh, he's based.
A political extremist.
Yeah, he's just based. He's
got a fucking blue rose on his Twitter.
Based Count Dooku is.
I mean, kind of.
Chad. Yeah, no, this movie's like, it is the worst Star Wars movie, and the second worst George Lucas movie? No, it's worse than Red Tails. Like,
it's worse than Red Tail.
It's fucking, this makes THX 1138 look like fucking Citizen Kane. Like, and I mean, we have differing opinions on that movie. I don't think it's very good. But like, at least it's something.
That is really bad.
Yeah. I mean, like, is there anything good about, I cannot, anybody with a straight face, say that they like this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's not even fun to like, ironically.
No, it's boring. It's too boring for that.
Yeah. Use your feelings. Jedi business. Go back to your drinks. And then Obi-Wan cuts the guy's hand off. Like,
oh,
right?
God.
Lots of hands get lopped off.
Well, like, they must be practicing this, right? Shit's getting cut off all the time. Like, they're not like these peaceful, like, self-defense. They are like fucking shock and awe strike. They're like Cobra Kai. Like, but yeah, this movie's fucking, like, they're cops now or something. I don't fucking know, man. Like, it's really bad. Gogs.
0. It's terrible. Yeah. It's fucking trash. The more I think about it, the more my head hurts. I don't like any of the things you told me tonight. I don't care for them, and I'm going to probably disregard them later because it doesn't make sense. It's probably correct, and maybe it's canonically accurate, but it's stupid. It's so stupid. Like, it was unnecessary. Like, is there a better way to make this movie? I don't know. Maybe if they actually made, like, a neo-noir, like, trying to figure out who's trying to kill Chinatown? Yeah, like, the whole time. Like, that's the movie. Okay, that's kind of cool, maybe, but what they made is not good. And I swear to God, if my kids ever see this and they tell me it's okay, we're gonna, it's adoption time. Like, things are gonna, people are gonna get, that's it.
You put over adoption when they're 17 years
old. You're done. You're cut out. You're cut out.
You're cut off.
You're gonna find all your stuff on your lawn, and by your stuff, I don't mean the things I bought you. I mean the things you bought for yourself, because I'm keeping the Legos. Like, I'm not abiding this. This movie is terrible.
Like, you know, when I mentioned it the other day, and I was like, Rogue One's like one of the only good Star Wars movies. Like, there are two great Star Wars movies, one good Star Wars movie, one that's okay, and then the rest of them are just all trash in varying degrees.
That is correct. There's
Rogue One and Empire are great. A New Hope is good. Return of the Jedi is kind of bad, but like the non-specialized is like, it's okay. And then the rest of them are just trash.
I'd rather watch Return any day of the week than this. At least Return has some exciting parts and it's fun. Like, there's stuff to like about Return.
It's still bad. Like,
it's the worst of the original trilogy, but the original trilogy was like, this is 3 pretty great movies. And ever since then, and then all of these just keep tarnishing it.
It's just not everything needs lore. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it's fine the way it is.
Just leave it, let it be a mystery every once in a while, you know?
Nope.
TJ.
Can't do that. It's also a 0. This movie is fucking garbage. And this movie is so bad that my, utter perversion that always shines through, even is diminished here. Cause Natalie Portman is, top 10 for me, all time Hollywood crush.
I'm a first ballot Hall of Fame.
I'm a big Natalie Portman fan, always have been. And she looks great in this movie. But also, I will say, something I will give a positive note on. The costuming is really good in this. Like, I felt like kind of the way I feel bad about, Bicentennial Man, where like a lot of really artistic people like spend a lot of time on this. Like, there's a lot of good like set designs. Well, not set designs, but like production designs. I think the ships look cool. The monsters, they kind of whiff on a lot of the new monsters. Like that weird, like, praying mantis monster looks really fucking generic. And that, like, weird cat thing looks stupid. And like some of the aliens, like Sean, you were talking about the evil boardroom meeting. There's one alien that's just
the man with all the breathing shit and the fucking like.
No, the guy that's like the techno army. No, the other guy that's just like he's just got a big flat head, and it's just like, what are you?
What is the techno? What was the
Techno Federation or something? All it made me think of, I swear to God, when I saw that, I was gonna think of it was like the Council of Pimps from Black Dynamite. The Techno Federation was just chocolate giddy up.
But this movie is fucking terrible, and it's really boring. It's not fun to watch. The plot is so
ludicrous.
So like it's just incomprehensible. Like it's like you take something like Star Wars.
No,
right?
it's not that the plot is incomprehensible. It's that the foundation of the plot is impossible. Like, there's nothing for it to sit
there's
on.
There's nothing for it to sit on. You're absolutely correct. Like, you literally pull at any thread.
It's like a Hot Wheels track is a very simple object. You put a car at one end and put it at the other end. But if you drop it in the ocean, like, it no longer functions the way it's supposed to.
That's a great analogy. But like, it's like, you think about something like Star Wars, right? Star Wars is very, very fun, very A to B. You know what I mean? Even Empire, like, they're easy stories to follow, and it's about the adventure therein and the characters. And then this is like Lucas feeling like I feel like in his mind, he feels like he wrote this, like, complex, like, war epic.
Oh, he's like fucking Orson Welles, he thinks, in this fucking movie, like.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. And it's garbage. It's zero. I hated watching it the entire time, and like, again,
wouldn't it make more sense? I know we're supposed to be out of time, but like, wouldn't it make more sense if Jango Fett actually tries to kill Padme and then Obi-Wan recognizes him through the Force and then tries to kill him instead of just like ready to fucking cut this dude in half for no reasons? Because Obi-Wan has no idea what's going on. But he's like, I'm gonna.
Yeah. Why did you need the shape-changing bounty hunter? Why wasn't it just Jango Fett?
Why did they just make it more complicated, like, for no reason?
And also, like, here's another thing you could have done. Why didn't Jango Fett, like, instead of having the shapeshifter, you could have a fight with Anakin and fucking Obi-Wan, and maybe Anakin, like he always does something rash.
Here's your movie, right? Like, you get rid of the Jar Jar vote. You have Padme getting ready to vote in dissent. Jango's outside of the hall, takes a shot at her, it gets deflected or whatever, and then he flees. They chase him to fucking Kamino, where his home base is, and then she votes in favor of giving Palpatine the power because she almost just died on the floor of the Senate. There's your movie. I just fixed it.
There you go. Way better.
That is
all right, that's the show. Next week,
a real double up.
We are watching The Flash.
But I blockade trade in the community.
I make clones for the community.
I told you not to interrupt me while I'm doing my space kung fu.
I need the version of this where Michael Jai White is Anakin.
Oh, Venus, Dr. Wu, you fucked up now.
Crenshaw Pete.
Dude, I'll put it on Front Street now. Chocolate Giddy Up is a way less stupid name than 90% of the names in Star Wars.
Hot ass coat hangers, bitch.
All right, that's the show.
All right.
All right, bye everybody.
Later, boys.
See you next week with The Flash. God help us all.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.